Thank you all for coming out and joining us today. I'm Ben Muzzy. I'm the sales manager at Spirit of 76 Fireworks. I'm also an aspiring dad. My wife is taking care of the kids right now. I have taken over their playroom for this afternoon's webinar. This is the first in a series of webinars. If you would, be sure to check out 76fireworks.com/webinars to see the growing list of other webinars that we will be hosting. Today's webinar is Trading Up. Merchandise your products like the beer companies do. Jamie Schepper has been kind enough to present for us today. That's Jamie. She is the VP of Administrations at Scheppers Distributing Company here in Columbia, Missouri, and she has a lot of insight into merchandising effectively and is willing to share that with us. Want to let everybody know, as a lot of you have, we've got the chat window, of course, up and running, so please use that. Question and answer is also something that we can do. A few times throughout today's webinar, we'll pause for questions. If you have one, please use the raise your hand feature, and then we'll enable your ability to speak. We'll hold off on that just to make sure we don't have anybody's background noise or anybody talking over Jamie's presentation. So without further ado, I'll let Jamie take over and tell us how we can do what they do so well in the beer industry.
All right, everyone. Hello. I don't know if the video of me is going to stay on here while we go, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So just a little bit. I'm Jamie Scheppers from Scheppers Distributing. See if my slides will advance here. There we go. So I sell beer. My grandfather founded this company that I work for in 1950. So we are actually celebrating our 70th anniversary this year. It's been a little strange to celebrate an anniversary when everything is so off kilter with everything going on in the world right now, but we're doing the best we can with it. So we do have locations in Jefferson City and Columbia, Missouri. I am in the Columbia location right now, as Ben said. We have about 60 employees. We warehouse, sell, and deliver beverages from dozens of suppliers. Anheuser-Busch is our largest one by far. And if anyone's seen our buildings, we actually have a giant Budweiser sign on each one. So that is who we are. And today's goals. So I'm going to cover several strategies that we use to sell beer. These are things we use to recruit new customers, new drinkers. These are things we do to get those customers to buy more, expand their consumption. And when we say that, we're not trying to turn everyone into, absolute lushes or anything, but, we want them to drink our brands, not someone else's. So we compete for that. And then the other thing we do is we work to accelerate the trade up, try to get people to choose products that are going to bring in more margin for us. So I think these are all relevant. One thing I'm not going to do is tell you how to sell fireworks, but I'm hopeful, and so is Ben, that the way we sell beer is going to be very relevant to what you do. A lot of these concepts can be applied to selling just about any product. So I want you to think of everything that I say today and apply it to what you do. It's not all that specific to beer. It's just really how to sell things well. So the first thing is, you want to decide who you are. You need to know yourself, know your customers, and then it's really about just giving them what they want. You're helping them fill a need. So there's different ways you can approach this. I framed this in terms of grocery stores for the most part. You can be kind of a no-frills, low-service business that focuses on low prices or bulk options. Some examples of this: Sam's Club, Aldi's, although I have to say Aldi's has gotten a lot nicer recently. You can also be a full-service high-end store and focusing more on the experience. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. I know we don't have those in central Missouri, but we've got viewers here from all over the place. So I'm sure these are familiar brands to just about everyone. And then there's also the approach, you're going to have something for everyone. You don't focus on just one thing or a small little niche. You've got different things. And this might not apply to very many of you because you do tend to, from what I understand anyway, focus on a smaller product group fireworks. So, but you know, just ideas of how you can frame yourself. So the first real big concept here is organizing your store. This is what you're going to do to help the customers find what they want to find. They come in with an idea of what they want, hopefully, and you want them to be able to navigate the store and be able to find it. You know, if they have to come to you and say, hey, where do I find the Bud Light? Then you're probably not doing a good job. Again, in terms of what I sell, not what you sell, but you get the idea. So, you know, how do your customers shop? You know, do they know what they're looking for when they come in? Are they looking for certain product features? Are they price sensitive, looking for, you know, bulk options or sale options? Or do they not even know what they want? Sometimes they come in and they just know they want to buy something. This is the equivalent of somebody going up to a bar and saying, can I have a beer? Well, sure. Which one? What do you like? What are you looking for? And so within that, you can pick one method or many. In terms of beer, we tend to organize things by package size. So if any of you shop in a store that has a beer cave, you tend to see larger packages in there. Big stacks of them, might be just on the floor stacked up, but you know, it's easy to find the big things. And then you might have reach-in doors or reach-in cooler where you have more mid-sized packages. And then you go down a little further and you've got the door of singles. Another way to do it is by supplier or brand. In terms of this, you know, we might put all the Budweiser products together, the Anheuser-Busch products, and then down on the other side might be our competitors' products. You see this with the soda companies a lot. You've got the Coke family of products, the Pepsi family, and then all the others. Origin is pretty common with beer, especially, you know, with artisanal, more local microbrews, and then you get into your regional ones. And then you might have your domestic beers and then your imports. Price is another way. You know, you tend to organize things so that they flow along. You have your value beers, your Natural Light, your Busch Light, your other lower end beers that, you know, people are used to when they're looking for value. And then you have your mid-range, you know, your next step up, maybe your Michelob Ultras in this family. And then you move on to your premium, you know, your high-end imports or your craft beers or those microbrews that sell in small packages for a higher dollar amount. And that helps people find what they're looking for. By style is another thing. You see this a lot with wine, more so than beer. I know I put some beer examples on the screen, but you know, with wine, you might have your Zinfandel section, your Chardonnay section, your sparkling wines. So within this, here is kind of a visual example of how we might do this. And you can see from beer, we actually layer a couple different options in here. So at the very top, you have your, what we've been calling Beyond Beer, but these are like your seltzers, your ciders and everything. And we have those in that little middle tier on that purple side. And then we might move into our craft beers, and then we have those divided up by origin. Local, regional, national, non-craft, same again, they're divided up, and then singles at the far right side of the screen. And then even by size. It's really hard to see in this picture probably, but on the bottom shelf, you have your bigger packages. And then as you get up higher on the shelf, the packages get smaller. Part of that's by design, because when you're reaching up high, you don't want to be trying to pull down, you know, a big 24 pack or 30 pack of product. It gets kind of heavy. But, you know, 6-pack, not a big deal to get from the top shelf. So think about that as you're laying out your store. You want to think about how your customers shop. You also want to make sure that you keep it well organized and neat. That assists people in thinking that your place is, you know, well taken care of and everything. So the next thing you do is you want to get customers to buy what they didn't know they wanted. So you organize your store to help them find what they are looking for, but then you drop things in to entice them to buy things that they weren't thinking of. This is a good way to showcase new products. You want to consider drawing attention to higher margin items that make you more money and encourage your customers to trade up. You want to look at strategically placing impulse items. A lot of people put things by the checkout. Good things for the checkout are the small items that people can fit in their pocket easily, but also the little things that people wouldn't necessarily buy except when they're standing there in line, or, you know, it's really easy for them to just add something on. Another thing you can do with displays is build something splashy that gets people talking. One thing we do as beer distributors is put sweepstakes items out. A little enter to win item that draws attention, gets people into the store, gets them excited. Bonus points if you have something eye-catching that people want to share on social media. If you get people advertising for you, that's less work that you don't have to do. So, here's a couple examples. We tend to use racks a lot. These are some older photos, but you can see we've got a rack of 6 packs of Stella Artois. That is not normally where we keep that, but there's an extra amount there so that it hopefully catches people's eye as they walk by. You'll note that that's not in the regular beer section. It's next to some mixers. It's also kind of towards an end cap where it's going to catch more traffic as people walk by. I happen to know that that particular store, the beer is kind of set aside and you have to walk into the aisle, and you actually have to be making a specific trip to go there. So this is a way to catch people if they didn't have beer on their mind as they were shopping. And not only is it catching their eye, but it's a higher margin item than, say, Bud Light. If anyone saw my cup earlier, Bud Light would be something that is a less costly item, and it makes less margin for both us and the retailers. Another really good example is this display of Dogmaster liquor next to a cash register. Dogmaster, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a local distillery in Columbia, Missouri, and it is a craft distillery. Because of that, they have a higher price point than a lot of your really large suppliers of spirits. So putting it by the cash register also helps people notice it. It is a good place to put higher margin items. It attracts more of the impulse buy. And you can see here, it's not really that easy to see, but on the back side of that rack, there is a sign that says Columbia's own Dogmaster. You can put a lot of different things on that sign to draw attention to what you are selling. What are the key selling points? Another thing on both of these, the price is marked. And I think I covered just about everything else there. Actually, in this store, that Dogmaster is on sale. It's got those yellow tags on there. That's a little something I'll get into later as far as pricing. But let's look at a couple more displays and we'll pause again for questions. Here is a Christmas display. This one is a few years old. If any of you are Bud Light drinkers, you might note that the logo doesn't look like that anymore. But here we've got, some product in a high traffic area. I believe this is near the checkout lines where people tend to mill about. Again, the price is marked. There's, a ribbon topper on there, and we've got some holiday steins on there. They're a little hard to see if you don't know what you're looking for, but every year at Christmas, we have some steins that we sell. And those are, a hot item that people look for. And if they weren't thinking about it or they forgot about it, since it comes up, once a year, well, guess what? We'll put them on the display by the checkout, and we'll make sure you see them. This is some sparkling ice. So we do sell products that are not alcohol. This one is a sparkling flavored water, frequently sold a little more than $1, but this one has a special price of $1. So this store has merchandised it with special pricing. They have also put it on an end cap. End caps are great for catching people where they're not looking for things. You know, depending on how you have your stores organized and how much you can differentiate things, but end caps are high traffic area. If you have aisles, people might not go down every aisle, but they'll pretty much see every end cap. So that's a good place to put special buys. It's a good place to put a large stack of a single item. And again, on here, you'll see we've got some display wrap at the bottom and some special messaging on that middle shelf there. This is a special display we've done. You don't want to just stack excess product if you have a lot in there. You want to actually display it. Put some effort into making it look nice. You guys might have, an excessive inventory of one item or another. And if you can make it look nice, then that's a big advertisement for that product, even if they aren't necessarily shopping off that particular stack of product. It's eye-catching. You know, it's in a prime lobby location. We've got some creative prop use, which is something you guys could consider. We also have signage on here. From the top, we have these Brewed by the Brave ceiling pennants. We are lucky in that our suppliers do produce a lot of marketing materials for us to use, but anything you can do to help advertise your products and draw attention to them and just put together a polished look helps. Again, at the bottom, we have display wrap. Here's another large eye-catching display. In this case, we've got a lot of the same elements before. If you see the turret up top, that's actually a barbecue grill that we were giving away in that store. So I believe that is a good place to see if we have any questions.
Yeah, it looks like, I know that Chris Sander indicated he does some designs in line with what you're showing us here, kind of eye-catching, putting out a large amount of stock. He does his in the form of a Christmas tree. And a number of folks asked, are people hesitant to take from that because they're worried about disturbing the actual design?
Yeah, sometimes people can be. Like on this example, the Budweiser and the Bud Select, those red and black packages on the floor, those are less integral to the design. So you can always have what we would call a side stack of product that is more enticing to pick up for those people that maybe don't want to disturb the bulk of a very fancy Christmas tree or such.
And I would say because you want to sell that product. Yes, it looks good. Absolutely. You like to have the design. If somebody looks like they're hesitating, I would encourage you to have your employees be looking for that actively on the floor and take the piece for them so that they see that it's all right. And of course, that same employee can be the one who's tasked with restocking that area to keep the design in play. That's something that I would never want to hesitate or have somebody hesitate to take the stuff. I understand what that question is. A couple other folks had asked, specific to fireworks, what items we can have at checkout for that impulse buy. It's going to be partly due to space constraints. Of course, we're all dealing with that. You need to have room for all the product you've got displayed, your checkout operation, as well as the customers going through. A couple folks have given some really good ideas. I agree. It's going to be the smaller items, the lower price pieces. Those typically work out better as an impulse purchase, something that they were going to buy anyways, be it a single pack of firecrackers, fuse is always a good one, punks or something that I always like to have up there, fart bombs, bomb bags. If you have it as a 4-pack out on the floor and it's space effective to break it apart as a unit, sell it at a little bit of higher price, and you can showcase it appropriately at checkout or close to checkout, that's a good spot to do that. And I think those are good products.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We see stores do this, especially C-stores with beer, where they'll have an ice bin with single cans right at the checkout.
Right. Yeah, and somebody had asked about any ideas for small spaces. That's a tough one. You know, it's going to be a matter of you're always going to want to have it there and showcase as much of the product as possible. Make sure it looks like your stock is full. And when it comes to those small spaces, I would just say take a look at, can you stack as opposed to side by side, just one in the line? Do you need to have multiples of that piece there? Can you have it there for showcase? And are you picking the orders for the folks so that you have your showcase piece and you're picking from over here without disturbing the product that you're showcasing?
Yeah, racks are a good idea for small spaces. They make good use of vertical space, and you can showcase several things on different shelves. So if you can find even some inexpensive ones, you can always dress them up. And even if they're not dressed up and they're just basic racks, if everything's, you know, priced and stacked neatly, it'll still look pretty nice and draw attention. All right, I'm going to move on, and we'll pause again for more questions. One other thing you can do is cross-merchandise your displays. I'm sure many of you have shopped on Amazon or other websites. This is the equivalent to, oh, you bought this thing? Well, customers who bought that also bought this. So, you know, it's just things that go together to entice people to pick them all up. You want to increase basket ring. That is, basket ring is, you know, what a person had in their basket. Just, you don't want to make people work for the product. The more you can just put an idea in their head, the more likely they are to pick everything up. And some pricing strategies now. People will buy more if they perceive it to be a better value. So think of that when you're doing your pricing. A lot of times people will have what is called a false front line. That is where something might regularly cost $10, but guess what? Today we're selling it for $9 or $8. And we put a special tag on there that says sale. Or you might do that and it might be your everyday low price. You want to communicate to people that you've thought about this. This is the absolute lowest you can go on this price. But we're good people, and we're gonna give you that low price every day because that's who we are. Another thing people do, buy one, get one, BOGOs. It doesn't have to be free. It could be buy one, get one half off, buy two, get one half off. I mean, there's a lot of options there, but that drives more volume and it gives a perceived value. When you set these prices, you're gonna have to think through what your margins are and what you need to make off this group of items, but you can do quantity discounts. This either can be on a single item, you know, similar to the BOGO, or you can do a mix and match. We see this a lot on 2 for X price buckets. The convenience stores will do this a lot on their singles. Energy drinks, it's common with single cans of beer, sodas, waters, you know, 1 for $3 or 2 for $4. You can have a full shelf there. Anything on this shelf is 2 for $4. And similarly, you have a special discount bin or a table of closeouts, or, you know, anything on here is $5. Then people don't have to think as much about the price and their budget, or, you know, if they're shopping with kids and they've got, you know, if you have a bunch of kid-friendly items, you can send your kid over to that table and say, all right, Johnny, pick out 3 items or whatever, you know. External advertising. So you want to work to get people to your store. You're going to want to make sure that you cover, you know, where you're located. Use landmarks if possible. Cross the street from the big grocery store everybody knows in town, or wherever you are. Communicate your special prices. Those are things people will hear and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go check that out. Exclusive items, if you have any. I don't know exactly what might fall into that category for all of you, but for us, we've got a couple special beers that only come out once a year. They're limited quantities, and sometimes we have customers of ours that, you know, are retail customers, and they'll say, hey, guess what? We're the first to have this special product. Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island is one of those for us. Special events or daily features. This helps you get repeat customers. Bars do this a lot with their happy hour specials or ladies night or pitcher night or bucket night. Where you want to advertise, you know, radio, billboards, roadside signs, those are great. Printed materials, but some of my favorite things are things that get people to do some of your advertising work for you. Social media, they'll share it, they'll talk about it, it'll kind of start to spread virally. You can also target really well on social media. If anyone hasn't done that yet, I would encourage you to make a simple Facebook account and start boosting your posts. You can go in there and you can say, all right, I want to target just men between the ages of 25 and 30, or I want to target, you know, people who are interested in hunting. You know, because there's different brands of fireworks out there that I've seen. Like I think Real Tree is one that might be, you know, a certain target audience, and you want to catch people where they're looking for one topic, and you might be able to catch them when they're looking for other things. Swag is another thing. Koozies for us, koozies, t-shirts. During Mardi Gras, we might have beads that have like a little Bud Light logo on them. Little things you can give out. Sunglasses might be good. If you have a website, put that on there so that people know where to look you up, or your address, anything that might help people find you or entice them to come in to shop. And so then once you get your customers to the store, you want good in-store signage. And the goal of this is to get those customers to buy more items. We talked earlier about organizing the store to help people find things. So use signs for this. If you have a section of special packaged items that are like those sets that are just kind of like your party to go, all set up in one package, put a sign so people know where those are. Clearly label your pricing. I know I've mentioned pricing a few times, but this is a big one. People can be afraid to buy things if they aren't clearly labeled, or you don't want to end up in a situation where people pick something up, they bring it to checkout, and then they find out it costs twice as much as they thought it did, and then you have to put it back, and it's just uncomfortable for everyone involved. So people know what they're getting into, they're more likely to pick it up, and then it'll actually stay in their basket and they'll leave with it. And if they perceive it to be a value, they might pick up more than one, or they might add a couple more things to their basket because their money's going to stretch a little further. So one thing you can do with in-store signage is to educate your customers. Special techniques or features of a product. You also want to demo or sample items if you're able to. This example here is a new product that we have that's just came out. It's called Budweiser Nitro Reserve. And, you know, I'm going to show you a couple products here, not to sell them, but I wouldn't be upset if anyone bought them. But they really do make these points that I want to. So on this piece of marketing material here, there's the Nitro Pour Tutor. And most people don't need instructions how to drink a beer, but this one's a little different. It's got nitro in it. And so the instructions say to twist the can 3 times, open it, pour hard. You don't want to just trickle that one down the side of a glass. And then you want to wait and watch the bubbles kind of foam up. And that's unique, interesting. If people don't know that it has a special technique, they might not get the full experience, and then they might not be as satisfied with the product as they otherwise might have been. So if you have any products that need a little bit of education, take advantage of when they're in your store and either educate them, you know, have your sales staff do that, or put up signage. It can be a variety of things, but they'll get a better experience from the product that way. The next one, point out things that people are willing to pay more for. I have no idea what this is for fireworks, but for consumables, a popular thing right now is less sugar or organic, gluten-free, extra product, you know. I remember several years ago, 24-ounce beers are very common, and then Anheuser-Busch decided they were going to do 25-ounce. So they spent a lot of money and time putting on all those packages an extra ounce of beer. So that can entice people to buy more. Here's another example of that. This is Babe canned wine. It says 12% ABV, and the little graphic points out that there's 2 glasses of wine in a can. You're welcome. You know, it doesn't have to be complicated, but what are your customers looking for? What are they willing to pay for? And I believe we are just about at the end. This might be my last slide, so we'll get to some questions, but just some bonus ideas I had. What else might people buy from you? You know, you guys sell fireworks, but while you have people there, what else can you sell to them? You know, times are weird right now. Maybe you could sell toilet paper or face masks. I don't know. Hopefully we'll be done with that soon, but it's worth a shot. You know, maybe lawn chairs, or those little swimming pools that kids and dogs like to play in. General party supplies, you know, go back to the solo cups and ping pong balls. Maybe not ping pong balls, but solo cups aren't a bad idea. I mean, people are gonna be having a party while they're shooting off fireworks typically, so capitalize on that. See if you can capture more of their dollars. Refreshments might even be good. It can be hot when they're shopping. So, you know, if people want to, you know, buy a beverage to drink while they're shopping, offer that. Just be careful with food safety and licensing, especially if it's alcohol. So that is what I had prepared. I would love to take some more questions if we have them.
We've had a flurry on the chat here.
All right.
And we're talking about different ideas for things that you could sell that would fall in line, like it said. And I know that LED type toys and novelties, I've seen a lot of those. Yeah, I've seen folks that have gone and, just like you said, drinks. They've had their kids run little concession stands right outside the store. Buying soda for $1 from a cute kid works out pretty well. A lot of places will give out bottles of water because it is warm, and the vast majority of retail locations are open air environments, and we're in July, so it is a hot month. So always to keep your folks comfortable while they're shopping.
Absolutely. If you get people to stay longer and they're comfortable, they're more likely to browse, pick up more things, and have a good time and remember it as a positive experience. So.
Yeah, and somebody had a great idea. Paul said, you know, reaching out to somebody else to maybe help out with the food service. You know, if there's a food truck or somebody's willing to set up shop and sell hot dogs or burgers, not a bad idea. I've always said, creating a carnival type atmosphere. Then you can get the local snow cone vendor to come set up shop, either give it away or sell it if you're willing to pay for the cost of the giveaway. That's just another thing that makes people happy, takes care of the kids, and who's going to turn down a delicious sweet treat when it's 95 degrees outside?
Great idea.
Setting an environment there. I think Paul had mentioned earlier in the chat, you know, lighting scheme to make places feel more comfortable. Putting in some music or having what's very common at locations is going to be scanning devices that show performance videos, looping videos, creating a firework atmosphere, creating something that's fun and exciting. Everybody that's buying the stuff is taking it to a celebration. So keeping that in mind, going into it with a lot of fun. You don't have to be as buttoned up as your local supermarket. You don't want to see a kid in a sleeveless t-shirt working behind the deli counter, but a kid in a sleeveless t-shirt that is restocking a fireworks tent, that's having a good time, has a silly hat on, that plays. That works out a whole lot better.
Absolutely. Another good idea is maybe your uniforms aren't going to be sleeveless t-shirts, but if you have multiple employees, if they are identifiable in some way, and a t-shirt would be a nice, easy idea, then that helps your customers know who to ask questions of. And
absolutely. Yeah. Lets you know who's staff and who's not. And it's tough sometimes to tell in the melee that is the fourth season, whether or not that person is that's coming in from the outside is supposed to be there helping you with that stuff. I had a question from Gene Marlowe. A couple of things that we've done that have been successful. We run a seasonal retail tent in Columbia, Missouri, outside of our year-round showroom, a wholesale office. I'll tell you, we've got space there. So we're fortunate. We're, like most fireworks retailers, we're out of the city. We're in the county, so we are able to shoot fireworks. We're cognizant of our neighbors. You know, we do come back to the same spot, so we follow the Boy Scout method, leave it cleaner than when you showed up. But family nights has been something. Jamie had said, you know, samples, for us, the samples are demonstration shoots. You can really do a great job of effectively marketing that through a number of different channels. Social media is going to be one of the best ways to go about that. But if you drive folks out there for a display or for your demonstration shoot and then run a special just for that night, or doesn't even necessarily have to be a special that night, give them a coupon that they come back with. They're already there, which is the most important thing in the retail business, is to get them to your space. Once they're there, they're very likely to shop. Invite the whole family, not just the adults. You know, the kids are going to be the ones that are going to pull the parents into the tent. Folks may have plans on coming back in a week and spending money. The kids are going to want them to spend that money right now. We have had pretty good success with engaging with local media. We'll let them know that we're going to be doing a safety course, how to use fireworks in a safe fashion. That is something I'm sure all the retailers out there at some time have been approached by a local news outlet. They want an interview. They want to get some B-roll, if it's video, of your stand and your retail operation. This is a chance for you to take the message, which is where they normally highlight something that's not what we want to all the time talk about fireworks, which are accidents. We're talking about how to avoid, what to do with fireworks to be safe, how to make sure that a firework is out before you throw it away, how kids should not be able to use fireworks, but parents will be using them and the kids can enjoy it. And just a lot of tips and tricks are always a good idea. And that brings folks out and that lets them know there's
Great
never
idea.
anything wrong.
Get out ahead of things. We do that as beer distributors too, where we, especially, you know, in that way, beer and fireworks have similarities where they're very fun products, but they do have a safety component, and you don't want to ignore that.
No, absolutely. No, I've heard live radio remotes. If you've got access to that, I think that's a good idea. Anything you can do to create a carnival type atmosphere, I think that's always a good success. I've seen people use spotlights. I've seen people use tracers on the outside of their tent. Draw in that eye, get folks to come in and check out what you are. I think anything on-site marketing is very helpful. Making your seasonal location readily identifiable, stand out from the landscape that's there all year long. I think that's always a good idea. Mm-hmm. Thank you for everybody that's joining us. And don't forget, we are going to have more webinars. You can see the full list of those at 76fireworks.com/webinars, and you can register for those events there. Well, Jamie, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you bringing your experience and your ideas out to share with us today. I think we've got some good tips and tricks that we can bring into our fireworks retail businesses, most certainly.
Happy to help. I look forward to this time of year. It's very festive, and hopefully we'll all be ready to celebrate it together again.